Welcome to the Gentleman's Guide to Gaming. It's time once again to discuss some of the games we are running, but most importantly what we're looking forward to running in 2025. You see, right now, as I've made clear before, I run several games for supporters of my Patreon. I've got, I think, 9 different groups going on Patreon right now. I may have miscounted. And I also have my local group, and I also have Red Moon Role Playing. Which means I run a lot of games every single month. My local group I run for every single week. Red Moon Role Playing I tend to either play with or run for multiple times in a month as well. And as I say, each of my Patreon groups has one game per month. And that means I am often very, very busy with the games I'm running. And although a lot of people very kindly volunteer to run games for me or invite me to play in the games, I frankly just do not have the time. I already have my leisure games in the form of my local groups, and everything else is purely business. So let's discuss what we're running right now. And I would love to hear from you in the comments below what it is you're running, what it is you're playing, and indeed what you would like to run or play this year. Maybe there's a game that's been on your shelf for quite some time that you'd love to get back into. Certainly that's the case for me. But let's get started. So, first game I'm running this year, I have been running Godlike. It has been a long damn time since I last ran Godlike. Godlike is a superhero role-playing game in a world on fire. Or to put it another way, you're playing soldiers in the Second World War, or the period 1936 to 1946, soldiers with superpowers, known as talents, often deployed as a kind of superpowered cannon fodder against other talents. They are not going to make or break the war. They are not going to win the war for the Allies. They are super weapons. They are special weapons. They are sacrifices to the war gods, if you like. And there is a real bleak attitude of Godlike that I've always loved, way back when I reviewed it. I really enjoy the system, the one-roll engine. I'm still a big fan of that. And as I say, I haven't played it for years, or haven't ran it for years. I just haven't had the opportunity to do so. Well, one of my gaming groups recently finished their campaign. They were playing a campaign of Slay Industries. And now that Slay Industries have concluded, we've moved on to Godlike, and they are playing talents. 2 of them are members of the Greek Resistance. One of them is a member of the French Resistance, who departed France when the Nazi persecutions of Jews increased, because he is a Jewish character. And we also have a character who has come in all the way over from America. And they are being assembled into a team of talent operations that are going to be deployed in Greece in early 1944 to make contact with the resistance, with 2 of our other player characters, and abduct a member of the SS in Athens who knows all the positions of all the defenses, the weaknesses of the Germans in Greece, so that they can weaken Greece suitably to allow for D-Day landings to occur in the soft underbelly of Europe. Now, I know what you're thinking. If you know anything about history, that isn't where the D-Day landings occurred. Is this because I am playing with an alternate history, or is it because these characters are doomed to fail? This is not June 1944. Normandy has not occurred yet. This is what they are facing. So that is Godlike. Meanwhile, I am also still running the Great Pendragon campaign for 2 different groups. Both of them at this point are in the year 487. They are heading up to the town, the fiefdom of Lincoln, and trying to win the Duke of Lindsey over to King Uther's side. Now, you might be thinking, because if you heard me talking about Pendragon a couple of months ago, that these groups are moving very, very slowly. It's because I don't stick to the idea of you've got to play 1 year per session. I much prefer the idea of players having the opportunity to actually role-play their characters and their decisions, and so it's often more than just, you had a battle this year, winter phase. No, it's your interactions with other knights, it's your relationships, it's the realpolitik. And both groups engage with Pendragon in very different ways, I have found. It's been really interesting to run for two groups simultaneously, the Great Pendragon campaign, and have them both interact with the campaign in a highly distinctive way. The most marked difference is their treatment or views of Prince Madoc, or Madoc if you prefer, the bastard son of King Uther. One of our bands of knights has absolutely turned against him. They think he is essentially a wild dog that needs to be put down, and they want to avoid him at all costs because they're sure he's going to lead them to their death. The other one wants to attach their banner to his mast and sail off with him and raid Saxon villages as much as possible because he's a damn hero. He's the kind of knight they want to be. One of our groups has recently been given the task of this is the one that doesn't like Madoc, of making Madoc more responsible. He is going to be their guest over the winter, and let's see if he can't ruin a little bit of Salisbury for them. So there's 2 games of Pendragon. I also have 2 games of Curseborn. Now, I've been recapping those games on this channel. I've also been running Curseborn intermittently for one of the local organised gaming groups here, and mostly from a playtesting standpoint. I like to find out what people think works, what they don't. That is more of a mechanical test than an actual game. We still play. We play through scenarios and they can be connected, but I'm less interested, and so are they, in getting into deep character histories and motivations and things like that, and more about finding out what my characters are capable of. Do I have sufficient options? Things like that on the page. So with my 2 other groups, I have these 2 Patreon groups who are running the Virgin Territory and Final Bout scenarios that I have written for myself, and I'm recapping them on this channel. So there we go, we have them. I also have They Came From Classified. They Came From Classified picked up after They Came From Camp Murder Lake concluded. It is the same group. They wanted to stay with the They Came From train, and so now they are deeply buried in 1960s espionage hijinks, currently sailing on their way to Valverde. Again, I've been recapping that campaign for this channel, so you can easily check that out if you like a bit of espionage fun and antics. We then have Vampire the Requiem in What Happens in Vegas is the chronicle name. And right now, this coterie, because I've ran this chronicle before, a version of it, has, again, very much done something different to the other coterie in play. They are throwing their lot in quite heavily, right now at least, with the Lancea et Sanctum, which is a covenant a lot of people find difficult to love. I think if you're a fan of Masquerade, you see an awful lot of shades of Sabbat in Lancea et Sanctum, and if you're not, you often attach a lot of Catholicism to it, and Catholicism isn't a terribly popular religion if you're not a Catholic. I know that may be a bit of a broad statement, but there's a certain feel to it that a lot of people have, but I am a big fan of the Sanctified. I love them. I think they're one of the most interesting covenants in Requiem. And as there appears to be an outside agency, an entity that has been employed by one of the covenants, it's assumed, in this city, to destabilize and dismantle the power bases of some of the covenants in the domain, it is quite possible right now that the Sanctified are going to find themselves aligned with the Acolytes, being the Circle of the Crone, for the very first time, because those 2 are the smallest, most fragile covenants in the domain. So we may actually see the pagan Circle of the Crone aligning with the Lancea Sanctum, because our player characters, it should be noted, are 2 of them Circle of the Crone, 1 of them is Lancea Sanctum, 1 of them is so far unaligned. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that goes. But yes, very much enjoying that. Also running Locus, which I reviewed on this channel not all that long ago. I was running it for my in-person, my local group. That campaign has ended, but I am still running it for one of my Patreon groups. Now, Locus, as I've mentioned in the review, is like Silent Hill, the RPG. It's kind of a bit Silent Hill-ish, bit Twin Peaks-like. Characters are having to deal with their traumas, their haunts, the things they have done, the sins that are weighing them down. And during the course of the game, they're going to be accumulating more and more negativity if they cannot act in a virtuous manner. And at some point when they do so, it's just going to drag them way down to hell. They are dealing with some wonderful, horrific content right now. I'm very much enjoying running that one. So yeah, we will have to see where that goes. And finally, of games I am running is my local group. I have just started Call of Cthulhu Cold War, or Cold War Cthulhu, which was an RPG I contributed to many, many years ago. I've ran it once or twice, but I haven't ran it at an extended level, and right now I am running it weekly. It is a game set in 1971 Istanbul. We have our characters for Section 46, our agents, who are of course simultaneously investigating mythos or cultish activity along with communist activity. After all, they're one and the same, aren't they? And trying to break down who it is that keeps sending them encrypted messages and what it is they are warning them of. It is a lovely, slow burning paranoid campaign. I'm finding the mood of the 1970s in Turkey, the proximity to the Soviet Union, the distance it feels from the West and the Allies is all very, very acute. And it has been a lot of fun to play with that era. So what am I looking forward to playing or running this year? Well, I'm already playing and running so much, but one game I'm really looking forward to cracking out is Monster Kingdoms, which is currently in the process of being written. That's the next Earthbane game. We've done The World Below, At the Gates, Monster Kingdoms. And I have got lots of ideas for campaigns I want to run for that. That's going to be traditional fantasy of a sort, but where you are playing the monsters. You are playing archetypal monsters and new monsters in what could easily be regarded as an evil campaign. I am very much looking forward to that. Yeah, Monster Kingdoms has been a lot of fun to co-develop with Eddie Webb, so I can't wait to get that rolling. Likewise, a game I would love to revisit is Qin, the Warring States, an historic and mythological China role-playing game. Much like Godlike, it is a game I haven't revisited in Dog's Age, and I'm really... it's kind of aching to. It's a beautifully written game. It's lovely. It's simple. It is a stunning piece of work. It's very evocative, and I've been waiting to get back into it, so I will be giving it a go. I mentioned a whole bunch of games I'm looking forward to in 2025. I'm going to obviously have to read them before I decide whether I'm going to run them. But as you can see in my room, I have got plenty of games in my study that I would like to tackle. Another one that I've got on my shelf there that I'm hoping to get into is Judge Dredd. Now, the only thing that's holding me back from running Judge Dredd is because I recently got done running Slay Industries, about 3 campaigns of Slay Industries. And while I love Slay, Judge Dredd, Mega City 1, there are some similarities there. They both play around with a sort of dystopian future setting, so that is that I'm gonna need a little bit of space between now and then to do it. Likewise, of course, how do I forget? I'm running AD&D 2nd edition set in the Forgotten Realms right now. We are on the Dragon Coast, my favourite part of the Forgotten Realms, jumping between Westgate and Elversalt. Westgate, of course, is a den of villains, and Elversalt is slightly better. That's a good, fun game I'm playing with, well, children. And also, I will be running, very soon, I'll be running Masks of Nyarlathotep for Red Moon Roleplaying. This is the first time I'll be recorded running Masks of Nyarlathotep. And how did I forget? I am also running already Shadows of Yog-Sothoth, another Call of Cthulhu campaign for Red Moon Roleplaying right now. You can only listen to it if you are a Patreon supporter of Red Moon Roleplaying. We're many episodes deep now, but it is a Patreon exclusive. The first campaign that was ever released for Call of Cthulhu, Shadows of Yog-Sothoth, and I'm running it for them. That's been a lot of fun too. So what else am I looking forward to getting into? Well, when I look at my shelves, as I say, there are plenty of options here. There is a strong desire to get back into Eclipse Phase at some point, because that's the game that constantly pulls me in and I've always got ideas for. And beyond that, I would love to dig back into Cult, because I always have fun running Cult. I'm actually thinking of running a full-length campaign of Cult instead of doing the usual, like, 6 to 10 sessions maximum. I know that may sound like a campaign, but for me, a campaign lasts longer than that. And a game a little less heavy going than that is one of the either Buffy or Angel RPGs. So I'm a fan of Buffy, mostly more of Angel than of Buffy, but most importantly I love the Uni system. I first got into it with All Flesh Must Be Eaten. I've got the books and I would really like to give it a go. It might be because I'm currently running Curseborn. I'm really enjoying the urban horror, the urban fantasy of it, but playing those timeless games is just really appealing to me. So, I would love to hear from you. Which games are you looking forward to playing or running? Which ones would you like to play or run this year? Maybe you will suggest something that will pique my interest and I will add it to my list. Let me know, because I would love to hear about it. If you want to request a video from me, please do get in touch via MatthewDawkins.com. There's a contact button on there. There's also a button to pay me a little bit of money so I can have a bit of money for the time that I am spending making these videos. I would appreciate it. Also, you could go over to Patreon if you want to play any of my games, patreon.com/MatthewDawkins, or another way of requesting a video is you go over to BackerKit and you pick up a copy of The World Below or They Came From the RPG Anthology. Those are the two games I am pushing right now. So please do pick a copy up, and if you do, get in touch via MatthewDawkins.com and request a video of your choice. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.